It's a chant, 7th stanza, page number 16. Together. Manah Sodhanam sadhanani vadantiha yajñodanam tapaschaiva japastirtham pratasatha. Iha Manah Shuddhikarani, iha means here means in this world. This opportunity is available only in this world. That means if we go to heaven or any other world, or if we do not have human body, we don't have this opportunity to purify mind. Remember, in this chart, physical body changes with every life. Yesterday we saw physical body has different destinations, right? The last one being, what is the last destination of physical body? Death. So that changes in every life, the physical body. But these equipments, mind and intellect, these we carry from one life to the next. But their purification opportunity is only in human birth, not in any other body. Therefore it is said Iha. Here in this earth, on this earth, in this human body, there are various means to purify mind. And what are they? So they are listed down. Yajna, sacrifice. Danam, charity. Tapaha, austerity. Japaha, so chanting the name of the Lord. Tirtham, going to holy places, pilgrimages. Vrataha, taking up spiritual vows. So let us see some of these. Japa you are familiar with, right? At least in the basic form, recitation of God's name. So you can do Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, repeating them. Or you can just do Ram, 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 Shiva, 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 Shiva. Just chanting the name. And somebody may feel, oh, what is the use of just taking Lord's name? But it will transform us. Japas are also of different types. Like in our meditation, we are practicing 3 different types of japas. Bhagavan Raman Maharshi Ji in Upadeshasar has given briefly. Uttamastavat Uchchamandataha Chittajam Japa Dhyanamuttamam. He says the most easiest form of japa is loud japa. Because there more faculties are used and there is an opportunity to be very alert. Right? So in the beginning we start with loud japa. So mind is distracted, going here and there, we are thinking of something. Suddenly if I chant Om Namo Narayanaya, so all other thoughts we drop them and we gather. So first thing is, just as physically we are in this building, our mind also should be here. Because the moment we give an opportunity, it wants to go somewhere. So loud japa first. Uttama. Then soft japa. Om Namo Narayana. But to come to that, we should have practiced that loud japa first. Then the mind is already tuned and it wants to remain there. So with minimum effort, we can keep it there. And when we get used to that also, then only mental japa. No lip movement, no hearing also. Only mind knows that we are chanting. So japa has 3 types, and it is said the most powerful of the japas is the mental japa. But don't start with mental japa only. First do the loud one, then soft one, then come to mental japa. So this is one. Then Tirtham, that also most people know. Going to holy places. But see, going to holy place does not mean you go to a resort. First you book in Gangotri or Jamnotri or Badri, Kedar, wherever you go in India, there are these Char Dham Yatras. You know them. Which resort we are going to stay? This resort. So resort is fixed. Now, Bhagwan is there, so we will visit him anyway. Then our visit to temple will be 10 minutes. Staying in resort and doing other sightseeing and everything, 5 days. Then that is not Tirtham. And on the way also, if we do some other things, like while we are going to that holy place, we have wrong ideas. As soon as we come out, we want to do other things. Throughout the journey, we should try to remember God. While we are in that holy place, we should have maximum satsang. When we are coming back, we should have memories of God. Oh, what beautiful darshan I had, what sight I had. Then that is actually serving the purpose. And there I should see how Mahatmas they live with minimum possessions, simplest life. And no fear that where will my next meal come from. That fearlessness, it will come only when there is maximum faith in God. Otherwise, we will be constantly worried. I am giving up everything. Now what about my food? Food will come. Everything will be provided. So look at their fearlessness. They don't have to depend on worldly things. In the sense that if this person supports me, then I am fine. But forget about people. The one who is supporting everyone will take care of you. There was one Mahatma. He was once sitting under a tree, relaxed. And this is a real story. There was one very big businessman, industrialist. He was pious person, religious. He wanted to invite this Mahatma at his house for Bhiksha. So he told his son, he said, you go and please invite this Mahatma for Bhiksha. So this boy went and he said, Mahatma ji, please come to our house, grace our house, please take Bhiksha this afternoon. So Mahatma said, he just wanted to test this boy. So he said, okay, I will come to your house and you can offer me Bhiksha today. What about tomorrow? Who will take care of me? Will you give me? So this boy said, I don't know. Let me go and ask my father. So he went back and he said, this is what Mahatma is asking, that today we will give him food, who will take care tomorrow? That father, you know what he said? He told his son, you go and tell that Mahatma, whoever took care of you yesterday is taking care of you today and will take care of you tomorrow. Go and tell this. So the boy went and told them, which means, don't think that I am taking care of you today. The same God who took care of you yesterday is providing you the food through me. That's all. We are the means. We may have a lot of money and possession. We are not taking care of you. God is taking care of you. Mahatma said, yes, I am coming. This is the right house for fiction. The humility is there. No arrogance. We are taking care. So when we go to holy places, these are the things we should gather. How Mahatmas live their life. That is Tirtha. Then Vrataha. Vrata, so spiritual vows, whatever that we take. For 1 year I shall not eat sweets. I shall not eat eggplant for the rest of my life. Why? Because I don't like them anyway. And that is not a spiritual vow, that is convenience. The things that we really really love them, and we feel that, this has become an addiction or this is attachment, then we should keep separation. Because then only it will work. The whole idea is that our mind should rise above likes and dislikes. That is the purpose of Vrata. So if we love sweets, then we say, okay, I'm not going to eat them. If we do it in moderation, there is no problem. No overindulgence, otherwise God will give sugar problem. Anyway, no matter how much we want to eat, we cannot eat. Now the first three, Yajnaha, Danam and Tapaha. So they are all connected, and their connection our Puja Guruji gives very beautifully. He says, Tapas means austerity. See, Tapa literally means to heat up. Right? In Upanishad, that Taittiriya Upanishad that we chanted for graduation, one portion is given in your book also. In that it is said, Tad detapas tad detapaha. That student, when he was asked to go to teacher and he performed certain practices, spiritual practices, the teacher said, perform more, do more spiritual practices. And what will happen? By that, you will create internal energy in you. And such energy stations, powerhouses, they are able to give energy to maximum people. And that is how they are able to transform people. So that energy, how does it come? Through their austerity, through their discipline. It's not by taking energy drinks that one gets energy. It is, you have seen Mahatma Gandhi's picture, right? How he was so skinny. When he went to Round Table Conference in London, before India's independence, I think it was in 40s, early 41. It was extremely cold in London, and he went with that one thin dhoti and one piece of cloth on his body. And he said the people there, before Gandhiji arrived, they were making fun of him. They said, we don't want these people, if this person comes half naked, we are not going to allow him. And when Gandhiji walked in, Churchill stood up. Everyone stood up. That much respect. It's not that he demanded that, it just, they felt that we have to give this much respect. And how he was able to move the entire nation, India. What physical strength he had? Nothing. All internal strength. That is important. Forget that. Obama also, you see how he created the movement, right? It's not because of physical strength. He had right understanding, right principles. He could really understand what is it that people need. He could touch their life. And somewhere he had done so much thinking. It doesn't come accidentally or by surprise. And people are saying, he carries Hanumanji's picture and idol. You must have heard these things. Have you heard? You heard? Yeah. He carries Hanumanji's picture. Yeah. So that is how they get strength. Means he has right understanding some good principles. And whatever prayers that they do. And not in this life, in earlier lives he must have gathered a lot of punyas. Yeah. At least he wants to do good things. Now how much he is capable and all that, so many other factors are also involved. So austerity is to gather strength within, number one. Then yajna. Yajna is spiritual sacrifice where we are able to offer all our activities for the sake of God, at the feet of God. That this action is for God. See, if you want to organize this camp also, unless there is an individual who is able to take care of his or her basic needs and is able to save time and energy to work for this camp organizing, nobody will be able to organize this. Right? If you ask everyone, will you take responsibility? No, I don't have time. Will you take? No, I don't have. Will you? No. If everyone says that, who will be able to organize? Somebody has to finish their responsibilities at home, studies, whatever, work, then somehow gather time and use that energy, time in organizing the camp. Then this is called yajna, where maximum people are going to benefit. Maximum means whatever number that can come. So it is not my thing now. I am offering all this at the feet of the Lord. In the same way, in society, if there is anyone who has contributed to great extent, it is only possible when they have made themselves available to society, to people. If everyone says, no, I am going to worry about my family, my life. Who will work for the nation? Who will work for community? Who will work for everyone? Nobody. Because everyone will be busy solving their problems. Have you heard of a great Indian freedom fighter, Lokmanya Tilak? Have you heard? Tilak. When he was put in jail, his wife died. A wife or maybe son died, somebody died, very close relative. And he got the letter and he read it and he put it in garbage. And the jailer, he thought maybe he didn't read it, so he took it out from the dustbin and put it back. He said, you have to read this. He said, I read it. You don't have tears in your eyes? He said, I have no tears left to shed for my personal problems. I have only one issue right now, India's freedom. So when the goal is much higher, personal problems are no problems. that becomes yajna. If we constantly worry, oh, what about me? What about my job? What about... They will excel in those things. They will not be able to contribute to society in direct way. Later on, maybe they make a lot of money, then what do? Dana. Right? If you make a lot of money, you have to share it with people. How? You do charity. But our Guruji has explained this also beautifully. He says, this charity is not necessarily only in the form of money. You spend time with people, giving your time to people is charity. Talking to people and giving them some good advice or giving time to listen to them. You know, people, when they are in the 70s, they want someone to talk to them. Nobody is available, especially in West. You all know. Everyone is busy. Grandmas and grandpas, nobody has time. Just to be with them is great seva. That is dana. And they will be so happy, oh, my grandchild, or any young generation, anyone from younger generation has come, is talking to me, is listening to me. And if you ask them, can you tell me just one thing in your 70 or 75 years of life, what is it that you have gathered? They'll say only one thing, God is real, everything else is unreal. That's it. Bhagavan, that truth alone is real. And that whether we learn at the age of 20, 25, 50 or 75 or in next lives, all we have to learn is this only. So the sooner we get it, the better it is. So yajna, danam, tapaha, japaha, tirtham and vrata. These are all various practices and all of them, they will purify our mind.
So do we just have to, we take that on faith that it will purify our mind, or is there anything that it will... You
yourself will see. Do you know there is another very standard practice that is done in Hindu household, doing Gayatri Japa, right? Especially with boys when they take the thread ceremony. So to do Sandhya Vandanam or at least do Gayatri. You will see when you regularly do Gayatri or any Japa, any other practice, your internal strength, your fearlessness will increase suddenly. And the gap between your understanding of scriptures and application of scriptures in your life will start shrinking. In short, the sugar will start mixing with the coffee. Hari Om. You know, in India, the watchmen, during the night, they would be walking around and they would say, Jaagte raho. You know what is Jaagte raho? Stay awake. So in this class also, every now and then I will have to say Jaagte raho. And the person for whom I said, he got it. Jaagte raho. Okay, so these practices, they will slowly start bridging this gap. Our mind will really start settling down.
But how do you know that it will work for every person? Like before I start this practice, suppose I want to know that it will work. Do I just take it on faith that someone says, okay, you will see that it will work?
If you have someone around you then you can see in their life. If you don't have someone, then you will have to go by faith, try it for some time and then see if it works or not. But as I said, certain things, we don't have much time for trial and error. So just do it. Nike way. Now, even though all these practices that we have seen, they all are great, but there is one even greater, which is given in the next one. Vichara Sadhanam Sreshtham.
Vichara Sadhanam Sreshtham.
You can keep your book open. Don't close after every stanza. Page number 20. Vichara Sadhanam Sreshtham.
Vichara Sadhanam Sreshtham.
Varnyate Trayathamati.
Varnate Trayatamati.
Mahatvam tasya vai proktam.
Mahatvam tasya vai proktam.
Krishnena swayameva hi.
Krishnena swayameva hi.
Together. Vichara sadhanam sreshtham. Varnyate trayathamati. Mahatvam tasya vai proktam. Krishnena swayameva hi. Ajay, can you read the translation?
Yeah. Inquiry, which is the best means to purify the mind, is being expounded here as per my understanding. Indeed, Lord Krishna himself has spoken this reading.
So other practices were given. Now it is said, inquiry is the best means to purify the mind. Vichara, it is said. Vichara means, literal meaning of vichara means thinking. But here thinking means in a systematic way, by asking right questions. Who am I? What is this world? What is the origin of this world? Who is the creator of this world? What am I supposed to do in this world? What is the purpose of life? This is called path of inquiry. This is best means to purify the mind. And the author, Guruji here says, it is not that I am saying this, tasya mahatvam krishnena swayam eva hi proktam. Its importance has been highlighted by Lord Krishna himself. Where? In Bhagavad Gita. So Lord Krishna himself says this path of spiritual inquiry is very, very potent, very powerful. It is the best among all paths. Then somebody says, why they have given other paths? Why don't they give only this path? Right? Because we always want the best. And we want to go on fast track. Why do yajna, dana, tapa, japa, tirtha, vrata, etc.? Just tell me inquiry. I will start. You know why we are not introduced to this in the beginning? Because number one, we don't know how to think. Number two, even if we think with the help of someone, we will not understand the implication of the answers to all those questions. And number three, even if we get the answers, the gap between the understanding of the answers and their application in our life will be vast, huge. We need to fill that. That is why we have to do other practices first. Sometimes people ask this question, is this God with form or without form? So if we say without form, why in our Bal Vihar class they never taught us this and they started with Ganesha and Kartikeya and Krishna and Rama and Shiva? They should have just explained that only. You were not ready. Even now, you think you are ready. If we are very much identified with our physical body, to think of God beyond body is very difficult. I am saying very difficult, impossible actually. Because if I am living in form, I consider myself as existing in form. To think of, if I am here and to think of God without form is impossible. So to transcend God's form, I have to transcend my form. That is why we have to do practices for God also with form. That is why all these temples are created. Then only vichara, then inquiry. If I want to recognize God beyond form, I need to transcend my form. Which means I should be able to think of myself as formless all the time, as that existence principle that what we have been talking, and in the Maunam session, what practice I have asked. How natural is that thought for myself? Which means going to the essence of my personality. If I can do that for me and for everything, then my understanding of God also will be formless. When I look at one person, do I see essence? When I look at a thing, am I able to go to the essence? If not, I still need form.
So, why is this one inquiry the best? Why is it the best?
We will see, it will come in this. It is best because it allows us to transcend the mind itself. See, all the other parts, what was said earlier, they consider mind as my nature, and then I work on purity of mind. Right? Whereas this path tells me that I am not the mind itself, I am this. So in all the other practices, I use my mind to purify mind. In this path of inquiry, I use my mind to transcend the mind. That is the difference. Our Gurudev used to give example of pole vault. You take a big pole, you start running with that, and you push it in the ground and jump. When you jump and you come to certain stage, then what do? You drop the pole and go on the other side. Then you cannot fall in love with that pole and say, look, with your help I came all the way here. I'm not going to leave you. No, you drop it. Right? So, all the other practices that they use the mind, inquiry also uses the mind. But then it said, now the time is there to drop it. But also remember, without that pole, we could not have gone that high. So pole is needed very much. In the beginning itself, don't say, I'm going to drop my mind. You don't know. Without that pole, you will never go that high. That is why whatever is given in our Vedas as practices, for everything there is purpose. Do not undermine anything. Rishis, they were how brilliant. We cannot even imagine. Their thinking, they knew what all weaknesses we have, what all problems we have, where we will lose our goal. That's how they have given everything nicely. All we have to do is just follow it with faith. do it also. Okay, where Bhagavan Krishna has said about this path of inquiry, in which way he has highlighted the importance, so that is said in the next one. Nahi jnanena sadrisham Pavitramiha vidyate Bahavo jnana tapasa Putamad bhavamagataha Together. Nahi jnanena sadrisham Pavitramiha vidyate Bahavo jnana tapasa Putamad bhavamagataha. So these are two different stanzas from Bhagavad Gita. This is not one stanza. The first line is from one part, second line is from different. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. There is nothing. Okay, who is going to read translation? Yes.
There is nothing here as purifying as knowledge, and many individuals purified by the penance of knowledge have attained my peace.
So two statements are given. There is none. Both are fourth chapter, but the first line comes later in the chapter, and the Bahava Jnana Tapasa comes earlier in the chapter. But here just quoted based on the meter. The second line, its beginning is Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha. That is how it starts. Manmaya mam upashritaha bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavamagataha. That is right after Yada Yada hi dharma, those famous stanzas. So those two are 7th and 8th stanza, and this is, I think, 10th stanza. And Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham will come somewhere in 30s. So there is no purifier as good as this knowledge, jnanam. So what is said as vichara, that itself is jnana. Path of inquiry is path of knowledge. So knowledge is the highest, knowledge is the best, Bhagavan himself has said. So in general, you know, there are 4 paths talked about in Bhagavad Gita. Pay attention. 4 paths talked about in Bhagavad Gita. Path of karma, karma yoga. Then what are the other paths? Jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, Raj yoga or Hatha yoga. So 4 paths. Karma yoga, bhakti yoga, Raj yoga and Jnana yoga. Now sometimes people have this idea, we have to do either or. We can go by any one path and we will reach the destination. That's how people come out with different statements. All roads lead to Rome. So any path you follow, you will reach God. So in the beginning, you say, yeah, that is true. But the truth is something else. All paths will lead to Jnana Yoga. And then you have to go by Jnana Yoga only. This is the truth. And Raj Yoga. Raj Yoga means Ashtanga Yoga. Otherwise, it is called as Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali. Well, because it is by Patanjali, that is why it is called Patanjali Yoga. Right? Because it has 8 limbs, so it is called Ashtanga Yoga. They are Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. These are the 8 limbs. So the most famous out of these 8 became Asana, which is now known as Yoga. So in the entire world now, out of those 8 limbs, only third limb became famous. And the next one is pranayama. So you ask people, when they say, do you perform yoga? They actually mean only third step, postures. Actually, yoga is the system of philosophy, which has 8 limbs, 8 parts. People are it is good. I am not saying it is not good. It is good, but we have to understand that as one aspect in the whole system. Raj means it is royal path, and in royal path, what is indicated is that it will lead you to that great truth. That is why it is called Raj Yoga. Or kings used to practice when, after living in palace for a long time, they all would give up everything, perform practice. Hatha Yoga, Hatha means more emphasis on physical discipline. See, when we do meditation in the beginning, for first 5 minutes, whatever instructions that I give, sit straight, make this determination that you are not going to move your body, you are not going to move your senses, close your eyes, body erect. This is all Hatha. Hatha means, literally meaning of Hatha is that you rigidly are going to practice this. Even if your body has internal resistance, no, I want to scratch here, nothing doing. Like this, you have to develop the strength. And that is also required, right? For in the earlier stage of our spiritual sadhana, or even as children, we want to do a lot of things. We say, no, a certain time you have to be disciplined. So how you sit? You just look at yourself. In 1 hour class, how many postures you change? That shows you how much physical indiscipline you have. Yeah. See, lot of things we do not know about ourselves. Once we sit down, we are not moving for 1 hour. If we can do that, that shows there is so much mastery over mind. Otherwise, you sit like that. Change this way, that way, every posture possible. That means mind is restless. You know, for teacher, without talking to any student, just by observing the student, the teacher knows what is going on. Yeah. You don't have to describe everything. And that way, that's why when students go to Gurukula to stay with teacher will give different kind of work to different students. And somebody will go, why they give that kind of work to that person and I have to carry all these big things. Because you are more into that physical thing now. Totally body-oriented personality, so Karma Yoga is your first priority. Just do that. Slowly as an individual evolves, then more japa, then more thinking. Not until that point. And we say, oh, he gets to sit always and think or write, and I have to carry things from here to there. You are in Karma Yoga stage. So teacher has already figured that out. Or sometimes from students' questions, teacher finds out in what kind of stage this student is, what kind of thinking the student has. Yes.
Swami, you were talking about Puntaji. Do you follow Swami Ramdev, what he does every day, how to cure people? You know, he cured handicapped people.
This we will take up in question and answer session. And just relevant to this.
With the questions, do you mean how they ask the questions or what the questions actually ask?
What the question? Both actually, the attitude also, but also the type of question, what is it that they are looking for, in what depth they have inquired. Because from the phrasing of question also, you will know how many things the student has already analyzed before coming to question.
I understand Karma Yoga and Hatha Yoga, how those lead to Jnana Yoga, but how does Bhakti Yoga lead to Jnana Yoga? Because I was thinking like...
So when we say Bhakti Yoga, like that japa is part of Bhakti Yoga. Then puja, when we do worship, etc., with flowers, that is also Bhakti Yoga. Singing bhajans, that is also. So all of those things will help quieten the mind. When the mind is quiet, then we will be able to conduct the inquiry. If the mind is running here and there, and you say, now we are going to do some discussion, no discussion is possible.
But why do you need that discussion? Because in the quiet mind, pretty much the goal as it is.
When the mind is quiet, you don't have the answer to questions. Right? Quiet mind does not give the answer. Means of knowledge will give the answer. Right? Just because my mind is pure, I will not know what is the color of this flower. For that I have to use my eyes and somebody has to point out, this is called red. Only then the knowledge will take place. Yeah. That will keep us humble. Otherwise we will become arrogant. Devotion keeps our feet on the ground and knowledge keeps our head in the sky. That combination, that is why you see all masters, no matter how great knowledge they have, always they will sing praise of God, always they will be devoted. For them, tears will come very easily. And that loving nature they will be able to express with all. Okay, so the first line says that path of knowledge is very purifying, and the second line says Bahavaha means many, Jnana tapasa uta mad bhavam agata. Many people, many spiritual seekers, they have purified themselves through knowledge, Jnana tapasa, mad bhavam agata. They have attained my nature. So what is the result of this knowledge? That is also said. Through knowledge, Bhagavan said, they come to me. So they gain my nature, this supreme truth. And that same thing now is continued in the next stanza also. Etat bhagavato vakyam Swatma shuddhyaika siddhaye Vicharyate maya samyak Shri Harir me prasidatam Etat bhagavato vakyam
Vichare maya samyak Shri Hari me prasiddhanam.
Very good. This statement of Bhagavan, Etat Bhagavato Vakyam, this statement, so the earlier two quotations which are given from Bhagavad Gita, Swatma Shuddhi Eka Siddhaye Maya Vicharyate. That these two statements are now being reflected upon by me. So this is a passive construction, passive voice. In Sanskrit, it is very common to use passive voice. So the author here, our Guruji says, now where those statements are being contemplated upon by me, which means we are going to discuss about that. And for that, what do I need? May God be pleased with me. Shri Harir me prasiddhatam. So see, your question, devotion and knowledge. So I want knowledge. I am going on path of knowledge now. May God be pleased with me. May He shower His grace on me so that I come to right conclusion through proper inquiry. May I not get distracted, may I not come to some new conclusion which is not the conclusion of great rishis. See, in the world, people are more interested in finding out new paths or new destination. Oh, this is something latest. So we say latest technology means it is good. Latest medicine, oh, very wonderful. In spirituality, if somebody says, I have come out with the latest path now, and we are going to go to a new, latest God, we say, we don't want latest one, we want ancient one. So there is, if somebody says, oh, this is something nobody has practiced before, you say, Hari Om. So we don't want that. We want time-tested formula. As far as this is concerned, no trial and error. Something which is already working, you give me that solution. And guarantee. So may God be pleased with me, and we are going to inquire into this. So who wants to read translation? Sorry, I already gave Toral. You want to read the translation?
I undertake inquiry into the meaning of these words of the Lord with the sole purpose of gaining purity of mind. May Shri Hari be pleased with you and may He bless you.
So, seeking His blessings alone, we walk on this path. We want to know your nature, Bhagavan. Please tell me how I can know this. Because on my own, I will not. See, there is another thing. Sometimes we find out that we have some weaknesses in our personality. And we know on our own we will never be able to overcome. What should we do? So it is said, you tell God. Talk to Him one-on-one and tell Him, Bhagavan, look, I have this weakness. I don't think there is any way I can go beyond this. You help me. Whatever is your understanding of God. So if you sit in front of Lord Narayana, actually what you are doing is, you are bringing that out to totality. Because we already discussed, right? God is this entire universe. So, if individual strength is not enough, you need total strength. And that you are trying to derive. Definitely. I tell you, see, when Puja Gurudev started his mission, how many people were there in the mission? One man show, right? He was the only person. And you know how many obstacles he had? He started teaching everything in English. And people say, what? You are going to speak our Indian scriptures in English? Somebody said, your tongue should fall down and this and that. He said, whatever there is to happen, let it happen. I am going to speak in English. Then they said, okay, but you cannot have public programs on Upanishads because they are sacred scriptures. It is only to be taught in ashramas. He said, no, I will tell everyone what is there in our scriptures. Let them learn. Slowly, so earlier there were a lot of negativities. Slowly people realized that this is important. And then they started supporting him. There was no money in the mission. Whenever he would ask, okay, we want to have yajna somewhere, some time, I remember in Hyderabad, somebody said, we have a house, and everyone said, Swamiji, that is a haunted house. Do not go there, there is ghost. Gurudev said, I must see him. And he stayed there, and that is where they had yajna. So, people will doubt and have challenges. You start. As totality starts working, actually it is Ishvara who works through you. So, I want more and more people to join this, then they will come. More does not mean in numbers. more means people who are able to understand this. That is enough. Those who appreciate this knowledge, importance of this tradition, if they join, they will do everything. Then all resources will come. So,
they just spoke. Who they just spoke out loud. This desire.
it came to him, right? So he didn't have to even speak. He started acting in that. His work was that. That's what, if you have read his biography, there it says, just as how Mother Ganges comes down from Himalayas, goes to the plains, and makes herself available to everyone, I want this knowledge, which is like Ganges, come down from Himalayas, the ashramas, and may it go to plains and be available to people. That was his sankalpa. That made him come down from mountains. Otherwise, he could have just stayed there. So, with Bhagavan, so this is how we get the sankalpa fulfilled. And as more people know, somebody will appreciate, somebody will criticize, and then we will know what is the right thing. And slowly we will move forward. Differently you look at this whole scenario. Let us say you are organizing this CHYK camp every year, right? And 40, 50 people, they are interested. So the camp is functioning. Every year you are able to conduct. Let us say next year you announce this, we have a CHYK camp. And totality is not interested. Only 2 people sign up. What will you do? Cancel the camp. Because we don't have people. Right? Our Brahmachari course is being conducted in Bombay. You all know that, right? That is where we study. Next year, wherever the next batch is, let us say we announce that we want young professionals or young individuals, graduates from different colleges who are interested to dedicate their life in study of scriptures and spreading them in this world. All applications are invited. Nobody signs up from anywhere. What will happen? Cancel the course. If there is no demand, supply will stop. So if totality is not behind it, work will stop. Tomorrow here, Bal Vihar programs also, if people say, no, why waste money? Bal Vihar, we will teach at home. All this institution will have no purpose. So totality has to back this. If that totality wants this. Always you will see this. Our books also, if we have printed them in English and people say, oh, why we want to buy books or read them, stop reading. If there is so much stock, we will stop printing because nobody is reading them anymore. Right? For everything it is like that. Even idols of Bhagwan, if we stop keeping them in our house, they will stop making them. It's a very big thing when we realize. Anyway, our time is up. Now it is your discussion time. At 1:30, not discussion, your reflection time. 1:30 is our satsang. So we will just sit down if you guys don't mind. Yeah, we don't want to have this setup. I mean, you can leave it, but we will just sit there in a nice circle format or something. And then we will have some bhajans. We will chant some, bring this book also. We will chant some things from here. And then some question answer if there were some other questions we can take. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnam धर्मेवावशिष्यते